A weekend on the coast. When my boyfriend's old college friends invited us to their beach house rental, I imagined a straightforward escape from the city. Good. Wine, warm sand, maybe some late-night conversations. But the moment I walked into that sunlit bedroom and saw one oversized bed positioned in the center of the room, clearly meant for more than just the two of us, I understood this trip would challenge everything I thought I knew about myself. Before we begin, if you're finding value in these stories, I'd be grateful if you'd take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support genuinely helps me continue creating content like this, and it means more than you know. Thank you for being here with me today. Now let's begin. The afternoon before. His fingers moved softly along my side as we moved together in the afternoon glow. I placed my hands flat against his chest, grounding myself, my breathing growing faster with every quiet sound that escaped my throat. The moment felt vulnerable and exposed in the brightness of daylight. The headboard tapped a gentle rhythm against the wall. The sheets still held warmth from where the sun had bathed them all morning. Light filtered through sheer curtains, creating golden stripes across the wooden floor and over the rumpled bedding. He looked up at me with that subtle grin I'd come to recognize so well. "You usually like to take charge," he murmured softly. "But I love seeing you like this. Stay still for a moment." I froze, holding his gaze, and his smile widened slightly. His movements beneath me were slow and intentional, meeting my pace with quiet precision. I leaned down again, watching the small changes in his face before pressing my forehead against his shoulder. We breathed together, deep and synchronized, while one of his hands drew slow circles along my back until the motion melted into the stillness of the room. "You know," he said quietly, "you still catch everyone's attention when you walk into a room." I smiled despite myself. "You're just saying that." "I'm serious," he insisted. "When you arrive somewhere, people notice. Every single one of them." I tilted my head, caught between curiosity and the warmth of his words. "What are you getting at?" He didn't answer right away. He just smiled in that enigmatic way of his. "I've planned something different for us this weekend." "Different how?" I asked. His grin turned cryptic. "You'll see. Pack casual clothes, maybe bring something elegant you'd feel confident in if others were around." My eyebrow raised. "That's all the information I get." He laughed, squeezed my leg playfully, and pulled me closer. "Stop overthinking it," he said. "Just be here with me right now." Arrival. We arrived late the next afternoon. The sun hung high and brilliant in the sky. The air smelled sharply of salt and seaweed, and waves created their endless rhythm against the shoreline. The rental house exceeded every image we'd seen online. Modern and airy with massive windows, weathered wood that smelled faintly of pine, and a wide deck that opened directly onto the beach. Jenna and Alex were already on the porch, waving excitedly before we'd even turned off the engine. They rushed toward us with the unfiltered enthusiasm reserved for people you haven't seen in far too long. Jenna hugged me like we'd been separated for months. "You look incredible," she said, her cheek warm against mine. "Seriously, you're absolutely glowing." Alex's smile was equally genuine. His greeting felt warm and heartfelt. Inside, everything unfolded smoothly. Wine appeared. Cheese and crackers materialized. Soft music drifted through the open windows alongside the mingled scents of lemon and coconut filling the space. "Leave your bags wherever," Jenna said, handing me a glass of something cold and refreshing. "Your room is all set." I wandered down the hallway, expecting to find two separate bedrooms, his and hers, but discovered only one door standing open. One large bed dominated the space, immaculate with crisp white linens and oversized pillows, bathed in soft light that made everything look almost ethereal. I stopped in the doorway, duffel bag in one hand, wine glass in the other. "Wait, this is the only bedroom?" I asked. Jenna leaned casually against the doorframe, sipping her drink with an easy confidence. "Exactly," she said as naturally as if discussing what time we'd eat dinner. "We thought it might be nice if we all stayed close together." I didn't respond immediately. I just stood there, processing the implications. My silence spoke volumes. She remained relaxed and unbothered, then turned and walked back down the hallway as casually as if she'd just suggested we share an appetizer. I followed several moments later, moving more slowly now, the house feeling subtly changed, warmer, quieter, as though the very energy had shifted. The conversation. When I found my boyfriend, he stood at the back window, drink in hand, gazing out at the endless ocean. "You mentioned a surprise," I said quietly. "Was this what you meant?" He kept his eyes on the horizon. "Part of it," he said. "We've talked about possibilities before. They were curious. I was curious. I thought maybe you'd be open to exploring, especially here where you could relax and feel comfortable. I didn't want to ambush you or force any decisions." I stared at him, uncertain whether I felt annoyed or intrigued. "If you're uncomfortable, nothing has to happen." he added, finally turning to meet my eyes. We unpack, eat good food, enjoy the weekend like any normal trip. Before I could respond, I heard the soft sound of footsteps behind me. Jenna stood in the doorway again, barefoot now, her expression calm and open. Hey, you doing okay? She asked gently. I nodded slightly, though the gesture felt uncertain. She stepped closer, her perfume mixing with the citrus-scented air, her voice remaining soft and steady. I know this isn't what you expected, but nothing happens that you were not comfortable with, she said, closing the space between us. We just wanted you to know how much we've always admired both of you. Her words felt like genuine compliments rather than manipulation. For a moment, I felt truly acknowledged in a way that wasn't overwhelming or demanding. She reached out, her fingers briefly touching mine before she gently tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear, smiling like a friend who understood me better than I'd realized. She took my hand and guided me back toward the living room with quiet confidence. I felt my boyfriend's presence following close behind, steady and reassuring. The house seemed to hold its breath, quiet and expectant. Later that evening, as the light softened and music threaded quietly through the rooms, we moved together through dinner. Conversation flowed naturally and warmly. But beneath that ordinary surface, something else pulsed. An undercurrent of awareness that made casual touches feel weighted with meaning. And glances lingered just a beat longer than usual. There was no pressure, only gentle curiosity, an invitation to stay present and authentic. At one point, Jenna leaned close enough that her shoulder pressed against mine and whispered, You don't need to hide what you're feeling. You can let yourself be fully here. Her voice was low and kind, and I felt something shift in my chest. Not from coercion, but from recognition, someone acknowledging that part of me had remained silent for too long. I didn't know exactly what I wanted in that moment, but I knew one thing clearly: I wasn't afraid of discovering it anymore. As night deepened, we stayed awake late, speaking in hushed voices, sharing half-finished stories and memories we usually kept private. We laughed, fell into comfortable silence, then spoke again, the four of us in the living room with moonlight, casting silver patterns across the water outside. It felt like a slow, deliberate unveiling of something honest between people who had chosen to treat each other with gentleness. When the house finally settled and lights dimmed, the intimacy between us felt both warm and safe. No urgency, only patience and attentiveness. Touches that paused for consent. A tenderness that demanded nothing beyond mutual respect and care. The room filled with quiet breaths and whispered words. Boundaries were honored. Questions were asked. Permission was given freely and received with gratitude. There was vulnerability, yes, but also strength in that vulnerability. A willingness to be seen fully, without masks or pretense. When we finally fell asleep, it was tangled together like people who had known each other much longer than we actually had. Morning. By morning, gentle light returned. I woke to salt air moving through the open window and a calmness I hadn't anticipated. My boyfriend lay behind me, awake enough to breathe softly, his arm draped across my waist. Jenna had curled up beside me, and Alex rested near the foot of the bed, half asleep but wearing a peaceful expression. The room held that quiet aftermath that follows significant shifts, soft, still, almost sacred. I slipped from beneath the covers silently, not because I wanted to escape what had happened, but because I felt complete in a way that made moving forward feel natural. My body felt more relaxed, my thoughts clearer. There was no confusion now, only a growing awareness of the connection we'd formed in such a brief time. I moved through the room with quiet certainty. When I looked back at them all, I felt a smile spread across my face. Don't you dare fall back asleep, I said with a soft laugh, my voice low and warm. The day is just beginning. They stirred gradually, becoming alert as sunlight moved across their faces. The following day, we spent the following hours exploring the shoreline, wading in shallow tide pools, collecting shells, sharing jokes and confidences that felt lighter in daylight. We cooked together, unhurried and intentional. The kitchen filled with small rituals, chopping vegetables, passing bowls, laughter spilling into stories about other journeys and other moments when we'd felt braver or less certain of ourselves. That weekend became both restful and energizing in the best possible way. Long walks, meaningful conversations, shared meals, and moments of silence that felt like comfortable pauses rather than emptiness. Though we never formally defined what had happened that first night, the weekend itself became a gentle unfolding of trust. Each moment seemed to test and reaffirm that we were all moving carefully and respectfully with one another. No one mentioned awkwardness. Instead, we discussed what felt good, honesty, respect, and the rare ease of being allowed to simply exist with people who truly see you. Departure? When we finally packed to leave, Jenna embraced me one more time, her voice as soft as before. You're stronger than you realize, she said. I let out a small laugh, maybe I just finally let myself stop holding back. As we drove away, the coastline shrinking in the rearview mirror, I felt the weekend settle into me like a treasured memory. The transformation wasn't only about what we had shared, but how it shifted something fundamental inside me. I felt freer, more open, and more present than I had in years. Reflection, the experience taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's courage. That intimacy can take many forms, all valid when built on trust and mutual respect. That sometimes the most profound growth happens when we release our fears and allow ourselves to be truly seen. I realized that life's most meaningful moments often arrive disguised as the unexpected. That weekend at the Ocean House didn't just change the weekend, it changed everything that followed. In the weeks and months after, I found myself approaching life differently. I was more honest in my conversations, more willing to acknowledge my desires without shame, more open to experiences that challenged my assumptions. I learned that connection doesn't diminish when shared, it expands. That boundaries aren't walls that keep people out, but frameworks that allow people to come closer safely. That weekend reminded me that we're all searching for the same things: to be seen, to be accepted, to be allowed the space to explore who we truly are without judgment. And sometimes, all it takes is one unexpected invitation to discover parts of yourself you didn't even know were waiting to emerge. Closing. Before you go, I want to ask you something. Have you ever found yourself in an unexpected situation that challenged your assumptions and revealed something new about yourself? Sometimes life's most transformative moments arrive when we least expect them, disguised as simple invitations that turn out to be doorways to growth. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments below. I genuinely read every single one and find so much value in your perspectives. And if this story resonated with you in any way, please take a moment to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Until next time.